Hello everyone, this is Gio from gamesibeat.com, here to bring you a review of the TurboGrafx-16 Mini from Konami.
Introducing TurboGrafx-16.
The TurboGrafx-16 Mini. Now the original was created by the Japanese computer company NEC and the Japanese developer Hudson Soft. In 2012, Konami bought Hudson Soft, so they're the ones who are actually releasing this mini console. It was originally slated for March, but due to all the delays with what's going on right now, it ended up coming out May 22nd. There's three versions to this. There's the Japanese PC Engine, the European Core Graphics, and the American TurboGrafx-16. The difference is the Japanese has 58 games. I believe 2 of them are different, and the international versions have 57, and I believe one of those games is different, but don't quote me on that. And you can currently get them on Amazon for $59.99. The Mini comes in a standard looking box that resembles the original TurboGrafx-16. Inside you get the console, controller, USB and HDMI cables. It also includes a very basic instruction manual. The console resembles the original TurboGrafx-16. The plastic feels light and cheap on both the console and the controller. There are faux labels for the antenna and channel switches as well as a cartridge port. There's a detachable backing that covers the power and HDMI ports. In the front you have a power switch as well as 2 controller ports. The controller has a D-pad, select and run buttons. The run button is actually the start button. 2 and 1 input buttons as well as turbo toggle with 3 levels for each of those buttons. The TurboGrafx-16 Mini outputs at 720 or 480p over HDMI Type A. There's also the ability to hook up a controller hub to allow up to 5 players. You start off with the TurboGrafx-16 game menu. Here you can horizontally scroll through the individual games. Each game is represented by the original case art. In the bottom right corner is a sub-menu. This is where you can select settings, sort, and the console type. So let's start with the settings. Here you have a user manual, but when you click on it, it just gives you a link and a barcode to access it online. I found that a little bit lazy in my opinion. Here you can set the language. It only has 6 languages, and I was surprised not to see other languages like maybe Chinese or Korean, but I'm not sure how it is on the PC Engine. Here you have the display settings. This just allows you to change like the aspect ratio. So here, this one looks like it's a 4:3. This is the one I use, which is about 5:4. This one is probably the pixel perfect version. Here you can set it to kind of fill the whole aspect ratio, but it kind of warps, the game, as you can see. And then here, this kind of like emulates that you're on a handheld. So me personally, I like to keep it here. Then you have the wallpaper. You can choose a different background. This is plain. This one has some cameras. I just set it to this one. Next up you have menu design. So you can switch between the PC Engine and the core graphics, as well as toggle this little guy by hitting the run button. You can see him. I really couldn't figure out the difference between these two, so if you know what the difference is, just leave a comment below. I'm interested to see, because personally I can't really see much of a difference between them at all. Here you have the credits. It's just the credits. And then you can restore factory setting, and you can look at the legal copyright info. So those are the main settings. Here you can sort. You can sort between A through Z format and release date. I like to keep it on A through Z. It's just easier to scroll through the games. And then here, this is what makes this thing amazing compared to other mini consoles. You can switch between the PC Engine and the TurboGrafx-16. So here we are on the TurboGrafx-16. Now we're on the switching to the PC Engine. So this is pretty cool because these are all the games, but these are all the Japanese versions. So there's a lot of crossover here. You have Newtopia 1 and 2, same on the TurboGrafx. Here's a PC Genjin, but this is just I believe this is Bonk's Adventure or Bonk's Revenge. Here you have Salamander, Snatcher. So this is a major thing here. Snatcher is a highly coveted game. Now the thing is that all these games are in Japanese, so I'll talk about it later, but I hope the community comes up with a solution like allowing you to maybe put in language patches or a different version of the game. But yeah, I mean this is great. I mean this is totally different than the other mini consoles because it allows you to switch between the Japanese version and the American version. So I mean I think that's a huge plus. Now once you have a game running, like let's put on Bonk's Revenge. So once you have a game running, there is another menu. If you hit select and run at the same time, you have this menu come up. Now, this menu will allow you to save states, and then you can load them again. You can also return to the main menu, resume the game, or if you hit select, you can reset the game. So that's pretty much it for the features of this mini. So with all the main features out of the way, let's do a demo of all the games. So there is a lot of games on this thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep the gameplay only to 10 seconds for each game. And then I'm just going to cycle through all of them in alphabetical order. Now there is one thing to keep in mind. This is missing 2 games that the Japanese version has. So just keep that in mind. All right, let's begin.
すごいでも
Alright, I hope you all enjoyed that tedious demonstration of all the games. If you're still with me, please hit subscribe. Now, let me talk about who this thing is for. Obviously, this thing has games from TurboGrafx, TurboGrafx-16, PC Engine, TurboGrafx CD, PC Engine, PC Engine CD, and the Super Graphics. Now, without having to buy the original hardware or the ROMs, I mean, this thing makes up for that. Keep in mind, Newtopia 1 and 2, I was checking the price on eBay. Both of those will run you around $500. So that's just 2 games that this thing has. So if you're like myself and you are always curious about the TurboGrafx and the PC Engine, but you never had one for yourself, and you just don't see yourself spending the money, then this thing is for you. Alright, so let's cover some of the problems with this thing that I didn't mention previously. So the biggest problem is that when Konami shipped this out, they shipped it without a power adapter. So you literally only get the USB cable that plugs in from the Mini, and then that's it. You have no power adapter. So what a lot of people were doing was they were just using their power adapters that they use for their Raspberry Pis or their other mini consoles, and some people had a problem where it was bricking the USB drives on the TurboGrafx-16 Mini. So it was essentially rendering their console useless. Now, the speculation is that something about using a different adapter is frying the USB ports. People are saying that it's actually faulty hardware, and that it shouldn't be doing that. Now, the manual says you can have a 5-volt 2-amp power adapter and it should work, but I just want to let you all know be careful. For now, I'm just plugging mine in a USB drive on my computer to power it. I would recommend that or buying the official one, because if you use a third-party one, you risk bricking the USB ports. So keep that in mind. That is a huge issue. Konami should have shipped it with those power adapters, but they didn't. So that's one big knock on this thing. The other, which is no fault of Konami's, but there's these awesome PC Engine games, and I just can't understand them because they're in Japanese. So that's not really a problem for Konami. It's more of a problem for us. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing what the community comes up with, because I'm expecting a lot of people want to play Snatcher and some of the other Japanese RPGs on there. So, maybe if we can get some people to find a way to hack into this thing, we can get some we can switch out the ROMs with ROMs that have language packs on them. So that'll be one interesting thing to see. And then the other thing I want to say is this thing is $100. So I do think, because of all the games it has so many games and the features are good, that I had no problem paying $100. But I do want to stress to people, most of these mini consoles, when they come out at full price, either they do really well and they stay at full price, or they quickly go on sale. So I'm not going to tell anyone to wait. That's up to your discretion, but I just want people to be aware that these mini consoles tend to go on sale pretty quickly after they release. In conclusion, I want to say that the sheer number and quality of the games on this thing is awesome. I've spent more time playing this TurboGrafx-16 Mini than I have all my other mini consoles combined, and I have many of them. It opened my eyes up to the world of the PC Engine, and when I was a kid, I was at a friend's house, and they had a TurboGrafx-16, and I remember playing Bonk, never having heard of it before, and I was just amazed at how the game ran, how great it looked, and now, I'm glad that I have this mini console for myself 25 years later. And yeah, I mean, I really enjoy it, and I can fully recommend it to everyone else. Thanks everyone for watching. What do you think about the TurboGrafx-16 Mini? Is it worth it even with the power issue? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.